Welcome, Badass Manifester. I am so glad you are here. I'm your host and head coach, Ashley Gordon, master mindset and manifestation biz expert, founder of the Quantum Coaching Certification, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur obsessed with empowering you to create quantum leaps in your energy, your life, and your business. This is the show to help you make magic your everyday normal, where the ripple effect is real and the guest experts are world class. My mission is to power your conscious and subconscious mind with manifestation teachings, business tools, and coaching techniques to put your potential into action. Consider this your weekly up level. Are you ready for quantum transformation? Let's do this. Badass manifestors, I just have one question for you. And it is, are you ready? Are you ready for this exciting announcement? I'm so ready. I'm so excited. So here we go. Drum roll, please. Become the Dream Coach Masterclass is back. I am leading a free live 90-minute experience. And I will be sharing the 3 secrets that helped me and so many hundreds of others shift from dreaming of becoming a coach to living the dream as a wildly successful world-class coach. Today I was at the gym and I went up to the instructor after the workout and I was like, girl, what do you do in the real world? And she was like, I am a studio manager. And I was like, oh, okay, like of a gym. And I was like, well, I don't know what your dreams are, but you should become a life coach, because she had the vibes. She had the inspiration. She had the words. She was just extremely magnetic. And I just felt compelled to go up to her and be like, I really feel like you're meant to be a coach. It was just a divine download and feeling. And I just followed it. And listen, she could have been like, absolutely not. What are you talking about? But she was actually very turned on by the idea. She was like, wait a second, what do you mean? And I started telling her more about what it means to be a life coach and how I started my business as a life coach. I went into business coaching, and then I went into actually creating a school for coaches, a certification program for people that want to become coaches. And she was just like, wait a second, what? And I was like, yeah, you're a coach, but you also have your own business and you'll be marketing yourself. And she was like, wait, is this a full-time thing or a part-time thing? I'm like, honestly, it's whatever you want it to be, but I made it a full-time thing and I have a multi-million-dollar business. And she was like, what? Her mind was actually blown. So this is someone who's never heard of the coaching world before. And I just know there are so many people out there who have this calling inside of them that have never even heard that this world existed, because that was also me. And so I told her, come to the Dream Coach Masterclass. I'm hosting it live 3 different times, the same masterclass. I'm hosting it live 3 days in a row. So you will have 3 chances to catch me showing you exactly what I mean when I say I feel like you should become a life coach. I really am so excited about this. So if you're ready to learn the exact tools and techniques that you need to run powerful coaching sessions so that you could step fully into your big coach energy, deliver massive value, and facilitate deep transformation with your clients to go quantum in your coaching, even if you're brand new, this masterclass is for you. It's completely free, and it really is for someone who's dreaming of becoming a coach, side hustle coaches, full-time coaches seeking bigger dreams, because your coaching business, your dream coaching business, it's not going to manifest out of thin air. You have to make it happen. And I'm here to say, let's do this now. We don't have time to waste. So when you join the Become the Dream Coach Masterclass, you will have that fire lit under your butt. I don't do fluffy masterclasses. This is like tactical coaching information that you'll use to feel more confident in your coaching now. I'm going to be revealing 3 major secrets to help you live this dream. Secret number 1, the actual secret ingredient to building your 6- and 7-figure coaching empire. Secret number 2, the 5 biggest mistakes new and not so new coaches make in sessions and how to avoid them. Secret 3, you could coach anyone on anything by focusing on this one thing. Everyone is so concerned about finding their niche. Forget about your niche. Forget about who your ideal client is. You don't need that for this masterclass, okay? This is going to help you learn how to coach anyone on anything. So if you're ready to dream bigger, let's freaking go. The link is in the show notes right now to register yourself. You have to register to get the link to join this private class. And I just want to say that when you sign up for this, and I'm sure this is not the first free thing that you signed up for online, but when you sign up for this, just know that you are setting an intention in motion. And where there is intention in motion, there is magic. So as you type your name and email in to register for this class, I want you to just know that your heart is leading you and that this class is meant for you. And I am so excited to guide you through this journey. So click the link below or just DM me on Instagram at thequantum.coach. DM me the word dream coach and I will send you everything you need to get enrolled now. Okay, now you're ready to hear about today's magical, mystical, fucking amazing guest, Madelyn Moon. Remember I shared about my experience at the Sedona retreat? I put my big girl pants on and I said, you know what? I am going to invite her on my show. And I'm so glad I did. She said yes, and I'm so grateful because she just has a wealth of information to share. And that is my goal, right? All of these guests that I'm bringing you, I want to bring you wealth. I want to bring you deep, deep wealth of knowledge, of codes, of information, of downloads, of intuitive hits, all the things, and really help you up level through that. So today we have the amazing Madelyn Moon, and she is just a leading voice in the world of feminine masculine relationships. She's devoted to serving women to liberate their expressive artistic hearts. And she has been featured literally everywhere. BBC, Huffington Post, Teen Vogue, Thought Catalog, Nylon Magazine. She has written a book, and her book is called Artist of Love. And that is what she is. That is what she's teaching me. And that's what she teaches us in this episode, how to be more of an artist of love in your life, to have more creativity in love through your triggers, through the things that are challenging. We talk about the weirdest embodiment practices, the most uncomfortable, edgy practices Madeline has journeyed through, the freedom of moving through the energy of what's taboo, releasing its secretive power. We talk about a lot about taboo, and dissolving the charge of the feeling behind the stories that we're telling ourselves. And what I love most about Madeline is that she doesn't give a fuck what people think of her. She has had so many haters come through on the internet, and it has fortified her in her being and knowing who she is, what her truth is, what she stands for. And she's someone who is so deeply rooted in her truth that you can't help but feel inspired and really affirmed that it is safe for you to be in your truth. It is safe for you to be in your beauty. It is safe for you to be in your fucking abundance and greatness and being the biggest version of yourself, to take up space in the world. And her embodiment of just being who she is really inspires me to do just that. And I'm really excited for you to listen to this. I'm super honored to interview her. Without further ado, enjoy today's episode. Hi, Madeline. I'm so excited that we get to chat.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me on.
When I was at your retreat, and everyone knows about your retreat because I shared about it on my podcast, how fucking epic it was. We did some crazy crazy, right? We did some amazing expansive embodiment work and practices. And you had me taking some shapes that I've never really taken before. And I'm just curious, like, to kick us off, what is the weirdest fucking embodiment practice that you've ever done that's made you super uncomfortable, but like empowered you at the same time?
Well, that's a great question. I kind of have two different answers because two different things are coming to mind that are in different worlds. One of them was in an acting class, and I was wearing these big cross earrings. And my teacher just had this brilliant idea to have me perform an exorcism in front of all the participants in there. And I like grabbed my earrings and I put the crosses to the wall and I just started speaking in incantations.
Oh my
And at the
God.
time, that was just, yeah, super edgy for me to be like, just like, I was like, I was almost like an FBI agent, like with crosses that were being guns. And it was, yeah, it expanded me, that practice. And then I have another one I did where it was more of a taboo practice
Mm.
where I was role playing being an actor who was being sexually tested out for the part I was auditioning in. And so I had like the casting director pulling at my hair, and I had the director taking off my clothes. And like I was
Yes.
just like, it's like basically, I don't, it wasn't all men, but they were basically playing, they were playing three men. And I just was like, yeah, do I get the part? Did I make, am I good enough? And so like being able to play that, oh, it was so freeing. It was very freeing. It was also very edgy. And it's really the point of doing taboo shapes like that is that you free up the energy around the taboo. It no longer
Mm.
has this kind of secretive power. But in the moment of doing it, you definitely have to breathe deeply and trust and open as the shape.
I feel like that is something that you talked about a lot and you talk about a lot. Is that the same concept as like what we touch dissolves and what we don't
Mm,
touch doesn't, still has like the power over us?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so for anyone that's not familiar with that, I'm sure you probably you've talked about it, but basically we walk around in life holding specific charges around things. We have charges around the story that all men cheat, or we have charges around the conversation of the mother. We have
Mm.
charges around not being good enough. And underneath every fear or belief, the charge is the feeling. The
Mm.
feeling is the charge. It's not actually the story. It's not actually the thing about men cheating. It's not the thing about your worthiness. It's the feeling. That's all that actually matters. And we don't normally think that way because we're thinking. We're just like trying to process the thing through. So I didn't come up with this phrase. I forget who it was exactly, but it's like a teacher of a teacher of a teacher. And they said that what we don't touch fully doesn't dissolve, and what we touch fully dissolves. So when we consciously choose to step into the feeling around the charge and
Mm.
then go deeper and then go deeper and then go deeper and deeper, a great example is self-loathing.
Mm.
Many people hate themselves in some way, shape, or form. You can love yourself and also hate yourself. But that feeling of not loving yourself is so scary to feel because what if I get lost there forever?
Yeah.
That they just don't go into it at all. And the power lies within fully, fully going in there and
Mm.
feeling it and amplifying it and making it bigger. This is the definition of actual shadow work, not like writing in our journal about a funny thought we had about ourselves. It's about like amplifying and personifying our nightmares and letting them be touched fully because you'll see once you go into it, normally there's all this space that's now here. Like the thing you just went into almost feels a little bit funny. Like what was I making the big
Silly.
deal about it? Silly, funny, there's space, people laugh, they cry, they open, but you can now all that space that the charge was taking up in your body, you now get to exist and inhabit. More of you now gets to inhabit that space because it's no longer being filled by the charge of not looking at the thing that keeps trying to get your attention.
Mm. So powerful. I remember, one of the first practices we did at the retreat, you were having us embody these different, I can't remember exactly because I was so in it, but what were you having us embody in that very
Mm,
first practice? Because it was so
yeah.
fucking mind blowing to me.
Mm. Yeah, I was having you go through the different, I think it was four distinct, maybe three goddesses, and they
Yes.
all represented a different powerful face of the feminine. And one of them was, I remember, Hera, which is Zeus, one of Zeus's wives, slash, I think maybe sister. And she's like known to be incredibly, incredibly, incredibly jealous. So I use that archetype to support women to feeling what it's like to let your fingers become talons, to let your teeth grow fangs, to feel your body as fire, to
Mm.
prowl, and to feel the energetic of that man's fucking mine to
Yeah.
the nth degree. Like, what does it feel like to fully go into that archetype, the claiming, the jealous, the beautiful parts of it, the ugly parts of it? And then we did
Yeah.
also Lakshmi and abundance and fertility and prosperity. And I think we did maybe Anana going into the underworld. But we can use these different deities as well as their bodies, as well as their nature, as well as their emotions to let that completely take over us. So we get to exist as that for a moment so that we can know that. Like know as in gnosis, deep heart knowing, not just knowing in the head, like, oh, now I
Right.
know my jealousy, but deep in the body, I feel it.
For me, it was so incredibly expansive to go there because it really does take it out of the mental, like the mental
Mm,
piece of it, of like the knowing, or I'm working on this, or I'm talking about this, or I'm working with my coach on like, moving through these beliefs that I have. It, the embodiment piece of it is so transformational. I mean,
mm,
can you just speak to like the that process of like what actually happens when we I think you already did, but what happens when we fully touch it, when people have this belief that it's wrong to actually act
mm.
this out or to really feel it, or what if they manifest it from going there?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing that's normally true is you're manifesting it right now by not going there.
Hmm. Oh,
Anything, you know, this phrase probably, what you resist persists.
yeah.
It's 100% true. What you're resisting is holding such a powerful magnetic force field in your life. Kind of like one of the things that I work with a lot in my work is the good girl archetype. There are students that come to work with me and they have such a massive charge around be not wanting to be a good girl. Like I'm breaking my good girl wounds. Like, and so on the other side of the good girl is the rebel. They're kind of one and the same. But in either way, you're living in reaction to your teacher. You're living in reaction to the practice. You're living in reaction to not wanting to be seen a certain way or afraid of being seen a certain way. It's like you're pushed and you're pulled. And the last place you're in is truth
Hmm.
because you're either the good girl or you're the bad girl, not just in the space of woman.
Mm.
And everything is dictated by that. And so this is just a great example of we start to create these situations in our life when we are either afraid of being this or afraid of being that. Life will continue to give us these situations to get
Mm.
to work through it. And either it's going to affirm our biggest nightmare, like, see, I'm always the good girl and I get taken advantage of because you're not finding your truth, or it's gonna, or you're gonna like finally sit into that and feel what it's like to like, oh, feel the grief of carrying that wound all your life. Feel the grief, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. And then on the other side of that, you can start to feel free. So that when you work with a teacher, you also have your own inner compass. And
Mm.
you're not living in rebellion to them or trying to cater to them, but you're just you in connection with them. It's
Yeah.
pure. It's crystallized. Um, so it's a very worthy inquiry for people to slow down and start to look at what's the thing in their life that they just don't want to touch. They don't want to look at. And it might not be that simple. It might
Right.
not be, might not be like, sometimes it actually might look like a good thing. It might look like it's actually like self-empowerment to always walk away from things that don't serve you. But actually, in reality, it might not be self-empowerment. It might be that you're hurting yourself because you keep running from things that are great lessons for you. Does that all resonate?
Yeah. Oh my God, so much. I think it's so powerful, and it's very nuanced for some people to kind of dive
Mm,
into like those
yeah.
crevices of themselves. Um, and I think that we're all like, as a collective, we're so bound up. We're so
Mm,
restricted in our expression that people are afraid to, like, we talk about this a lot, you talk about this a lot, to be too much. You act this out on your social media, which I love so much. Like, why do you feel like people are so scared to own their full range of expression, to like really be all that they are, that they came here to be?
Mm-hmm. So I have a maybe a little bit of an esoteric answer to that, but I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go there. So, you know that moment, if anyone listening has ever screamed or like perhaps screamed in a car, I think that's a great example. If you've ever screamed as loud as you can in a car, and then after the scream, there's this silence that's ringing.
Mm.
It's the silence, it's this it's the contrast from the volume to nothing that kind of scares. It's not actually the scream, it's like afterwards when you're lingering in that fertile field of silence.
Mm.
The silence after a moment of incarnating as your truth, or saying the thing you're afraid to say, or powerfully asking for the thing you want, the moment afterwards that's oftentimes the most uncomfortable for people. But when
Mm.
we're filling the space, when we're talking, we're saying, hey, can you give me money? Hey, can we do this? Hey, I don't like that, blah, blah, blah. Whenever you're saying the stuff, you're like on momentum. You're in control. But the moment afterwards, when you stop talking, when the question has been asked, when you post the dance online, when you release the book, whatever it may be, it's like the moment when there's no feedback giving you praise afterwards. It's the moment when you don't know what the answer is. It's the moment where you're just sitting there in discomfort,
Mm.
lingering. That's actually the deepest medicine. And it's, I believe, one of the reasons why people don't express or they don't ask for these things is because that moment is so uncomfortable. So learning how to be in that moment of nothingness, of no response, of refusing to abandon yourself and staying in your question without dispersing energy, right?
Mm.
Without trying to immediately fill that silence with even more talking, with even more saying of things, with even more posting of stuff, just to sit and wait, be in the silence, breathe deeply, train
It's
your body to
uncomfortable as fuck.
so
It's so
uncomfortable,
uncomfortable.
so uncomfortable. And so that's a really big portion. And it's why maybe you remember at my immersion, there are moments after we do something and I try to catch before we go into talking, like, wait, don't say anything yet. After
Yeah.
one group went to do something, like sit in the silence. Once we did our performances, we clapped and then there was silence. So really experiencing what it's like to feel the applause, the praise, the validation, God in the silence without anybody
Mm.
else doing anything for you.
That V word though, that validation
Mm-hmm.
piece,
Mm-hmm.
huge. So huge. It's been such a
Yes, it
teacher.
is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even me, like I rub up against that a lot around like, even when you posted a video, you were in your bathing suit, you were dancing, it was so beautiful. You're promoting your workshop for about money is she. I'm like, wow, I was so inspired by that and thought to myself, I could never do that, even though I would want to do that. I would want to express myself in that way, but like talk myself down
Mm.
from that. Like, did you have any feelings around that for yourself? Like, were you sitting in that silence as well in that moment, or you've grown past that point?
Oh no, I totally do. I definitely have, I was really feeling myself. Was like, I'm in
Yeah.
Cabo, I'm in Cabo, I'm having champagne, I'm in a like bikini, I'm gonna dance. And so of course,
Yeah.
my thing that I get uncomfortable around is I'm selling something about money and I'm half naked. What does
Mm.
that mean about me? It's like, am I
Oh,
am I doing something that all these other coaches are doing? And I'm and then I'm like, actually, this is my truth. I'm talking about prosperity. I'm feeling prosperous. I'm going to
right.
capture this moment and put it out in the world. And of course, I get some people that are like, I love this. Oh my God, I'm signing up. And then I've had other people comment and be like, I'm so tired of white girls dancing in bikinis selling things about money. And I'm at this place now where I'm just like blessed, like I totally get it. And this is my truth. Like this is my truth.
Right.
Owning it and owning another really big piece of shadow work is owning exactly that. That's exactly what I'm doing. It's exactly who I am in this moment. White girl telling a thing about money. And I think that's when we really are in the most powerful place. I
Mm.
didn't go into this defensive moment of like, no, that's not me. Instead, I'm like, that is me. That's exactly
Yes.
me. And just owning that, when you start to go into these like pretty radical states of owning the thing someone's trying to use against you,
Oof.
oh, becomes limitless what you're capable of doing and who you're capable of being. You're all of it and you embrace all of it. The good, the not so good, the beautiful, the ratchet, the like prosperous, the moments of scarcity, all of it gets to exist.
Mm. That this was definitely something that I wanted to talk to you about because I know so many people in my audience and listening in this community they have that fear around like expressing yourself through your business
Mm,
specifically, and like the fear of the judgment, the fear of the rejection, the fear of like people commenting and trolling on your posts. And I think
mm,
that's such a powerful question of just asking yourself, what is your truth?
mhm.
Because the truth will never like let you down, but also don't you could deceive yourself in those moments of like, I think I should post this because this is what people want to see. Is that
Right.
right? Like, what is your actual truth? Getting to
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to the example I gave earlier too of the good girl and the rebel. Both are in reaction. Neither one is just this is what I want to do. And
Mm.
we can do this in relationship. Should I stay or should I go? What will people think about me? Have I tried hard enough? All these questions we ask ourselves that are outside of ourselves, rather than sitting with really feelings. Like, what's my feeling? For me, it was as simple as that. And doing my bikini dancing thing, it's like I feel prosperous.
Mm-hmm,
I feel
mm-hmm.
prosperous. I feel prosperous. And the capturing of that moment, turning it into a video is all a result of the feeling that I just wanted to reveal. Just revealing a
Mm-hmm.
feeling. Um, yeah, and I really personally don't give a shit at this point what people think about me. I
Okay,
really
I'm so
don't.
glad about that. I was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
literally right before that just thinking like how do you get to that point? And we'll talk about that. But I do also want to say like when you posted that, I felt the prosperity. I felt that initial intention,
Mm,
that truth come through. And it was also very empowering and was like a permission slip to, yeah, just to own more parts
mm,
of you and to not give
mhm.
a shit what people think, which is
Yeah.
so hard.
Yeah, I think to some extent, I believe I was, let's see, anyway, or the origins of this. I was raised in a family that cared so much about reputation. It was everything.
Mm.
Moon is my real last name, and I just heard constantly growing up, what does it mean to be a good moon girl? What does it mean to be a
Mhm.
moon girl? You're a representation of this family. Be a moon girl. And I didn't like any of the things that made a moon girl a moon girl. None of it sat right with me, like at all. The way I was supposed to dress, the way I was supposed to, who I was supposed to be friends with. Like there's just all these human uh, judgments in my parents that they were putting into me. And I was like, that's not me. Like, I don't want to dress like that. I don't want to have those people as my friends. I want those people as my friends. Just constantly feeling my truth. And as an adult, it was so clear for me, just no one, I can't live like that ever again. So I think there was a blessing and having parents that put so much external pressure on me, huge
Mm.
blessing, made me who I am. Thank you to them. And when social media became a thing, it just became the perfect platform for me to just care and be. And I have gotten thousands, thousands of hateful comments, thousands of hateful, mean, abusive people who don't like me and then like write 1-star reviews on my book and just like know how to like punch me where it hurts, just like so much stuff. And it's really a blessing because when you start to see every angle of why you suck, you just stop feeling any care about it. Because then you look at your life and you're like, yeah, but my life is amazing. So
Yeah.
if like sucking is what is required to like make an amazing fucking life like this, that I'm happy to be sucking because this is fucking lit. I love my life, you know? And
Yeah.
then I will also say for anyone that has a social media presence struggling with this, I routinely use the delete and block button, probably 3 times a day. I'm deleting comments and I'm blocking people. Deleting and I'm blocking
Bye.
very often. Bye. Like, because I also live in an abundant world where I don't need at Carla 52BB12 to like me because she's probably not going to pay me anyways. If she already hates me now, she's probably not going to be a client. So it's just like, trimming out excess really
Mm,
supports my nervous system to also continue to share the way that I share. Yeah.
that's so good. That's so good.
Mhm.
What about how does it show up in your non-internet life? Like, does it show up with the people in your world? Does it show up with
Mm.
your family? Like, is that still there? Or you still are like good with it?
Yeah, I would say that a lot of people I've got my friends that are like, wow, you're really killing it in this way, in this way. And then I have other friends that are like, you used to kill it. Now your content's a little different. And then and then I have the friends that are like, this is where you really should be. Like, this is your zone of genius. And then the ones that are like, no, your zone of genius is, everyone's got an opinion.
Mm,
And so I take everything with a very tiny grain of salt. And with there's certain ways of expressing that my partner feels comfortable with and not comfortable, and that's been a dance. How do I remain true to myself and also now take into consideration what my partner is comfortable with me?
sure.
Like, I just had these really sexy boudoir pictures done,
Mm.
and I would have probably shared them with the world, to be honest, because I'm a Leo and I would have been like, look at me. But instead, I'm like, okay, this is like for the partnership. Some things
Yeah.
get to be between us. And yeah, and then my family's pretty much no family is on my social media because
Wow.
they just either they're blocked or they don't have it, or they think that what I do is like part of my family thinks that I wear a necklace that has blood in it and I worship the devil. Like, a very Baptist family. It's so far so far off. And I've like received very mean letters from my Southern family being like, you better stop doing that. And I'm like, but I'm not, so I think there's a gift to having had those experiences where it's
Yeah.
so irrational that I can't even rebuke it because it's not even real. So when there's nothing to like, when you have experiences like that, I think it helps you create this muscle of just like knowing that people are in their own universe, and how
Yes.
much energy do you want to give into correcting that, and you really can just let go.
And like look at the impact that you've had on the world and the people that you've
Yeah.
worked with and on me. And
Mm.
imagine giving in to your family's like, you know,
Yeah.
beliefs and what they
Yeah.
think is best for you and the impact that would not have happened, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I always think about that.
Exactly. Yeah, for everyone
Yeah.
listening, it's like I used to work with a lot of clients starting their businesses, and that was always such a big thing at the beginning. I'm embarrassed because Kyle, who has known me since first grade, follows me on Instagram. And what is he going to think when I start announcing myself as coach? I'm like, oh man. First of all, just like block Kyle so he's out of your space. Just don't worry about Kyle. He's not thinking about you. But also there's so much on the other side of that very tiny fear. What you're here to do is so much bigger than what Kyle from first grade thinks. And you have to act like it. You have to act accordingly. That like that's the price you're willing to pay, is feel embarrassed
Mm,
for a few minutes for that magnificent life that you're cultivating. That's the
mm.
price. That's ticket to admission. Are you willing to pay that? Are you willing to pay for that ticket to admission? If so, great. You have like legs to work with what you want to build. If not, then entrepreneurship and expression is just going to take a while longer.
Yeah. Oh, it's so powerful. It's so powerful. I know. I often think about that too, even now where I've been doing what I'm doing for so long. But I have like a small
Mm,
local community here of just like everyday people. And
mm,
I'm like, I'm going to, take my son to the library and I run into other moms that
mm,
I've known from like high school. And I'm like, they just watched my story and they know a lot about my life probably.
mm.
And here I am just like having this like normal interaction with them. It's kind of weird. And sometimes it gets in my head but not enough to
Mm.
stop me. not enough to stop
Hmm.
me. Hopefully it
Yeah.
empowers in some way,
Hmm.
you know?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Either empowering and inspiring them or causing them to like not like it, which is what art does, right? So if we
Mm.
are taking on the responsibility of being embodied art, living, breathing art, which all humans are, you are art. Art, the job of art is to send a ripple.
Yeah.
Either I love that, I'm inspired by that, I want more of that, or ew, I don't like that. That's nasty. That's gnarly. Ugh. Both of those sides of the pole, they're doing a job. They're sending a ripple. When people have that feeling of judgment within themselves, you're giving them a gift.
Mm.
Again, are you willing to pay that price? Is that a ticket to admission you're willing to do? um, to be that woman
Yeah.
that plays that role in their life so that perhaps the person witnessing you then goes on this whole path of feeling that feeling of having that judgment in some way, shape, or form that's going to impact them in a way
Hmm.
that's ultimately leading to their growth. And that's just the archetype you might have to play in their life for them to then go off and discover more about themselves.
Mm, so cool. So cool. I live for that fucking ripple effect. Even if we don't even know that we're having it, it's still
Mhm.
happening just by you being
Yes.
in your truth, in your embodied expression. Yeah,
Mhm.
so good. Okay, so you are such an artist, and like the way that you describe making art in your life and making art with your triggers is something that I've been tussling with,
Mm.
as you would say.
Tussle, tussle.
And I would love for you to share this with everyone listening. Like, what does it mean to make art, especially out of the things that feel so hard and so triggering and uncomfortable?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I strongly believe that we are oftentimes in relationship with partners who have the best and the worst qualities of both our parents combined.
Mm.
This comes from Harville Hendrix. He wrote the book Getting the Love You Want, and his the way that he's coined this is that we tend to get into relationship with people who are our matches, which means an image match, image of yourself, image of what you grew up with. Like it's mirroring. Oh my gosh, I love the way dad would be this charismatic and generous, but also I'm terrified of the way my mom would tend to have addictive qualities. Why does my partner have all of this? It's like that's kind of how it ends up being. And when we have a partner who is a match in that way, or let's say a best friend, I've certainly had friends who I know we have very old karmic past lives together where I'm like, why do I want to love you and murder you at all at once? You're a
Oh my
friend.
God,
You're
I totally have that.
yeah, I'm like, you're a friend. I shouldn't feel this way just about a friend. I get it, a partner, but why a friend? It's the match. It's the imago mirror match. So when we have these incredibly natural triggers that come up in relationship, the ideal scenario is that because we're in partnership with someone we choose and it's not our parents that were just given to us, we can use that opportunity to take that tender, reactive, heated activation and then turn it into something that discharges the heat, that heals the pain. And this is what I call creativity and love, or being an
Mm.
artist of love, is that you start to milk your triggers as much as you can. It's just like suck the juice out of it rather than just, I'm triggered. Okay, we made up. We're better. Let's move on. Starting to feel into the triggers that continuously pop up in your life and in your social media and how you express yourself and your relationship, and beginning to think and feel, how
Mm.
can I make art out of this sensation? So, an example that I did last year was I was continuously just feeling really crazy with men. And this was when I was single. I was just feeling like I dated this guy and he did something that made me feel like, am I on camera? Like, is this fucking serious right now? And then I'd go on a date with a different guy. We'd see each other for a while and then he would do something and I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? And then I just have like baggage of like things that made me feel crazy. And so here's a trigger that would pop up in my life. I feel crazy. I want to
Mm.
destroy this dude. How do I transmute that energy into something that's actually artistic?
Mhm.
And in that moment, I decided, I remember I went to the gym and I was like on the treadmill and I just had this idea come to me of, oh, what if I do a little sacred theater piece and I make a little video out of it where I get the most beautiful Ken doll and I write all of those men's names all over the doll. And I film myself like making love to the doll, kissing the doll, holding the doll in a really artistic way. And then I burn the doll in a cauldron and
Oh
I
my God.
destroy it. And I just make myself crazy. What if I did that? How would that be? So I did, and I went immediately home. I got the doll, I got the cauldron, and I put up my camera equipment, and I filmed this whole video, and I edited it for a few hours, and I just made this video that I was so proud of. I still to this day love this video.
My God, I can't wait
And
to.
have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Okay. I put a teaser on my Instagram a while ago, but I'll send you the link for the
Okay.
full video because the
Okay.
full
We'll
one's,
drop it into the show notes for
yeah,
everyone to
yeah,
watch.
full. Yeah. And that's an example of like creating art out of a trigger that's a little more full on. We also can make it in little ways, like, if your partner says something to you like don't do that and he's triggered and that triggers you, like, excuse me, sir, don't tell me what to do.
Mhm.
Instead of going into the trigger and being reactive and upset, you can just stick out your ass and say, "You want to spank me, daddy? You want to spank me?
Ah!
Was I a bad girl?" And you're playing with him rather than taking the bait to get into a trigger. You disperse the energy, you free up that trigger, and you actually make a new choice that leads to connection through that rather than distance and pain.
Oh my gosh. How freaking radical is this, everyone? Like, is it, I mean, really, like it makes so much sense. And
Mhm.
you have to be dedicated to this
Mhm.
practice because I feel like it's
Mhm.
a moment by moment practice.
Yes.
And it could be
Yeah.
easy to forget. Like
Mhm.
recently, my son was sick and I was freaking out and I was like, we need to go to the
Mm.
hospital. And my husband kept being like, you need to relax. You need to
Mm.
relax. And I thought back to that and thought, how could I have made art out of that moment? That moment was so intense for me that
Mhm.
I had to just fucking yell at him and be like, don't tell me to relax. Like
Mm.
I'm going through it right now. This is serious. This is scary. And I go back to that because I know there's going to be other moments that arise like that. And how do I want to show up to those moments instead of
Mhm.
being the reaction to the trigger, you know?
Yeah, when you said that, sometimes I go to like more like yeah, like spanking and erotic things like that. Just to be clear, you can always go a comedic route, or like part of artistry is just revealing your pain, like revealing your heart, offering your emotion. But I immediately, when you said that, I thought, oh, that could be fun to have a little collar that says
Mhm.
relax on it, and he has to dom you into relaxing. Like, fine, I'm gonna go get the relax collar and then put it on,
Oh,
and then you give him the chain, and then you have to like basically be dommed into relaxing, and he has to like then fucking pour you a glass of champagne or whatever. And you're not actually probably go into full relax mode because you have to take care of your kid, but
yeah.
there is maybe the slight energetic of play that you get
Yes.
to create with him. And you can do this in, so many ways. There's a
Yeah.
lot that, like, this is what's so beautiful about this, is that the path of being an embodied artist of love, you get to pull out of nothingness something. You get to create what is the thing that's needed in our relationship to heal through this. You get to ask yourself, what would be the best way for my partner's nervous system for me to play in this area? And maybe the most artistic thing to do is to relax, or is to give him a back rub, like
Mm.
get offer that to him as you whisper into his ear all the things you'll do to him if he tells you to relax again.
I like that.
It's good to play.
I'm like, Madeline, how do you think of this stuff? Like, you are so so on it. Like it just comes to you.
Practice,
Practice.
so much practice. I just like, this has been now the main thing that I've worked on and created for the past several years. And
I mean, it is
it's
your book.
really, it's my book. And I also felt like I was creating something that just had the power to not only heal relationship triggers and traumas and make them beautiful, but also you have to expand as a woman to choose art over activation, over trigger. You have to expand to instead choose to go get the relax collar instead of yelling. Like you have to grow. That's a part of you that expands and grows. And so becoming an artist of love it's more than a therapeutic tool between two people. It's a radical way for you to grow as a human, as an individual, to make more of you available to love and be loved.
Would you say the feminine lives in the art and the expression and the creation?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's our bodies. Our bodies
Yeah.
are creation. Everything, every single fucking human that we look at has come from woman, has come from womb. And men also are creative. We all have the feminine essence. I think that women have a particular um they have a need. It's like drinking water, eating food, brushing your teeth, creating. There is a need, a nourishment that women have to partake in, I believe, daily in some way, shape, or form. Not the same, I believe, for men. I think it's more for men, purpose and drive. Like they have to do something each day that completes them. One of the questions that my partner will ask is, what do you need to do so that you can die complete tonight? Or
Ooh,
when you put your head on the pillow, what do you need to do so that when you quote die and you go to sleep, you can do it completed? Which is a question that you can relate to the meta. What do you need to do in this lifetime before you die to have done
right.
this lifetime well? So that's more so the masculines. What do you need to do, accomplish, be, so you can die complete? And for the feminine, it's like creation, it's artistry, it's expression, it's incarnation, it's
Mm.
revealing. There's a lot of those pieces, I think, that when we properly feed ourselves with that nutrient and nourishment, we have so much more life force to circulate through our bodies.
So true. It's so true. I think that work in and of itself to like put your body through that energy of expressing and creating and realizing that it's all happening through the physical body. It
Mm.
really does. Like when I left Sedona from our work together, I was just like on another level. And
Mm.
it's what you're saying. It really amplifies every single part of
Yeah.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Something
Mm-hmm.
I want to shift gears into is the way that you lead. I think it's so beautiful and so powerful. I learned
Mm.
so much from watching you. Um, and there was a moment that I wanted to bring up that was really interesting where we were doing a Q&A and someone had their hand up the whole time. I learned so
Mm-hmm.
much at that moment. And
Aw.
she felt so the Q&A was over and the assistant was like, actually, this person has their hand up. And you're like, well, actually, we're going to be, shifting
Mm.
gears right now, going on break, whatever we were doing. And the person with her hand up was like, I'm actually feeling really rejected right now
Mm-hmm.
that, we're not going to answer my question. And do you remember what you said? Because I remember what you
Oh,
said.
what did I say?
You said, this is not rejection. I love you.
Yeah.
And I will answer your question later
Mm-hmm.
when there's like the appropriate time and we have to move on right now for
Mm-hmm.
the sake of the group. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
remember it.
Mm-hmm.
And although that's how she was feeling in that moment, you let her feel that for herself. Like you let her be in that. And I was just wondering what was going on from your perspective as the leader and the facilitator of the room. Was there any people pleaser quality in you? It didn't seem like there was coming up, or like, did you feel like, oh, maybe I should have just answered her question? Or were you like, how did you stay so grounded in it in
Mm.
forward?
Yeah, I love that you're bringing up that moment because that moment for me as well, I learned a lot too. That particular event, that immersion that I held, I was having things happening leading up to it. Because I was holding a smaller group that was a part of that group, and things within the smaller group were popping. Things with my assistant were popping. I was having these situations that was building up to the weekend that ultimately at the beginning of them popping and things happening, I was like, can't everything just be smooth? And then I used this as an opportunity to I'm also moving into this time of my life of embracing mother pole or just like, feeling the frequency, the energetic of mother. And so that weekend for me was an opportunity for me to start responding to um, students as if they were children. Like, how would if mommy had to do something, how would I hold my child with love and also be firm? So that
Mm.
response is really coming from this place of, I love you, you're my baby, and this is what we have to do. So I was
Right.
embracing that mother inside of me.
Wow.
And I think if anything, like it was great, but if anything, I was just learning a lot around how clear I need to be with assistance of making sure that when I am moving forward, all the assistants are on board with that and don't bring up something that then I have to deal with. Because
Yes.
that was the biggest issue for me in that moment of because that's how a leak in the container is created. And
Right.
my containers, I take great pride in having very tight, grounded, everyone is on the same board and same team
Yeah.
containers. So I felt a leak pop up and I just really quickly wanted to, tighten it. And if I hadn't had done that and had people pleasing come up, the entire group would then have to have a shorter dinner. And I'm always spilling into the whole. What does the whole need rather than the individual, which I think is a place a lot of spaces are missing.
Oh,
They're missing how to really make sure the whole is number one and individuals are second.
yes.
Ultimately, if in a perfect world, everything is equal, but this is like it comes from my ritual background of like working in group spaces. We're always taking care of the whole because if we take care of the whole, the individual finds themselves safe in the whole. That's really
Mm,
how it works.
so powerful. It kind of reminds me of like being micro with someone and then going macro, but it's all about like that macro energy of like you said, taking care of the whole and knowing that the person will like fall into the
Yeah.
collective energy of what's best for the
Hmm.
group. Yeah, that was
Hmm.
such a powerful moment of just like, wow, she
Mm.
is so great. You would have never known that any of that stuff was going on behind the scenes, but you were so
Hmm.
grounded. And something else I noticed was that you kept really good boundaries between you and the group, where like you would go into
Hmm.
a separate room and you didn't let anyone like really pull on your energy unless you like wanted them to, or unless you like were lingering in the room. But everyone noticed too, or they're like, Madelyn's going in the room and she's coming out of the room, the closet, or wherever you were going. We thought you were going in
That's
the
funny.
closet.
I mean, I kind of was like sometimes I'd go into a separate room that was like more spacious, but there was also like a closet over there, which is just way more convenient to go in and out of. And that's
Yeah.
also where, there was a back door to where I could leave in my car. So just a little context. I wasn't just hiding in there until everyone was gone. I'd actually go to my car. Yeah, that's been a huge piece for me. A huge, huge piece. I'm a projector. The place that I get the most weakened in space holding is any kind of anyone pulling on my energy in between sessions. I need very clear, like, I'm on, I'm off, I'm on, I'm off, I'm on, I'm off. And if people come up when I'm needing to be off and they're like asking a personal question, I'll get spread thin, maybe
Mm.
resentful, a little bit fuzzy brained. So I've just learned having those designated times. And then at the very, very end, I used to leave at the very end, actually, and not even do goodbyes. So this was my first time to stay for
Wow.
everybody to say goodbye and everyone to share their experience. And that was a little bit of a stretch for me, but also I was so grateful because that I cherished those moments of saying
Yeah,
bye to
that's
everyone,
fun.
taking photos. And yeah, it was really fun. And I enjoyed that. So I got to grow and stretch in that way.
When you're in that space of leading, would you say that is like the masculine? or like how do you lead into your feminine? How do you balance the masculine and feminine when you're in that space of space holding?
Mm. I'm very masculine in the ways that I hold containers in space. Um, I think one of the ways that I keep the feminine frequency going is my assistants, is
Mm-hmm.
that they're well trained and I have them shine their light in the sacred theater and in groups, and I really have them be an extension of me in those ways. And then my feminine comes out through like play and jokes and laughter in the
Yes.
actual containers. And the moments when I also do some expression, then it comes out. But mainly my femme really comes through with listening to people, feeling the space, seeing what's needed. Sometimes we have to
Yeah.
change things up,
Sure.
but I typically have a very masculine pull in my time, my space, my direction as much as I can bring.
Mm.
And that feels really good for me because then I mean the whole container, it's about expression. The whole container is
Yes.
feminine. So I have to like, to the extent that the container is feminine, I have to meet with that grounded pole. Is the way that I see it
Yes.
as the masculine.
Yes.
And that's what I think really creates like the safest space to go deep in.
It was so powerful. I know we're wrapping up, but I'm curious, like, what is your secret ingredient to having people in containers like that drop in so quickly? Because I
Mm.
remember going into that first practice, and I know you were working with quite a few people in the room already in your program, but there was also a lot of people that weren't in your program and
Mhm.
probably hadn't worked with you. So I'm curious, like, thinking to myself, whoa, everyone is fucking in this. Like deep,
Mm.
like it felt like plant medicine took over. Did you not feel like, did
Yeah.
you feel that?
Totally, totally. I definitely feel that at those weekends. It is its own, I mean, yeah, I could, that's a whole other thing.
I know.
Like, I know, I could go on and on and on about like ritual theater and how it's actually like taking a macro dose and how they're
Yeah.
very similar and the practice. So, yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that I just have I have the frequency of like, let's go fucking deep from the
Yeah.
beginning. If I was to start it being like, let's all go around with our names, let's talk about our intentions, our fears, then I think it would kind of be an energetic of, can I trust this? So I just expect everyone to go in. And as long as I hold that, that's oftentimes what's mirrored to me. The group is
Mm.
a reflection of how committed I am to whatever direction I want the weekend to take.
Yeah.
And I think also, as you know, everyone had to go through an initiation to get to
Oh my God.
Unbound with the weather.
Yeah.
So I think everyone was like, this better be fucking worth it. Let's go deep. So
Let's
I
go
think they were
fucking.
ready. Let's go back deep. No one wanted to like, take their time or so they wanted to milk the experience. And that's also
Yeah.
the benefit of having to cross a threshold and take an initiation to get somewhere. By the time you get there, you've just gone through a whole bunch of life already. You're already
Hmm.
primed up,
You're
juiced up,
ready.
ready to go.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
true. When you are going into that space of leading and facilitating, do you connect with like a certain archetype? Are you connecting with
Mm.
like a certain leader archetype, or are you just being you?
Hmm. Definitely. I mean, I am a through and through, I am a follower of Dionysus. He is my god. Like, I love
I
Dionysus
have
so
no idea
much.
who that is, but now I want to look him up.
Yeah, he in the altar in our space is a statue of Dionysus, and the bouquet is like a reflection of him, and all the colors that I tend to use, the emoji of wine. Dionysus is the god of theater and wine, ecstasy, and madness.
Ooh.
So I'm always using my connection with him to feel into the ritual that's needed, the trance states that we are meant to go into, how we use theater as a healing modality. Everything that he is my path. So all my programs are in devotion to him in a way. Like I'm trying to bring the Dionysian ritual rites here in the modern world without even saying that it's about him, because then it might attract a different audience, but it is for his teachings in the modern world. So I really lean into him and he leans into me when we're creating, and it's very powerful.
So powerful. Oh my God. I'm so glad I asked that
Yeah.
question. I kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I asked
that's
because
a great question.
yeah, it's such a great answer. Okay,
Yeah.
I know I want to respect your time, and I could literally ask you a million. I feel like we need a part two maybe in a few months or something. But you've really helped me merge the performer in me, like that person in me that was like
Mm.
afraid to perform, to be too much, or afraid to be judged for all that I am, and help me really bring these like two very conflicting parts of me together. And it's so powerful. So I want
Mm.
everyone to like be in your work and learn from you and read your book and all the things. And so I want you to share where you're from, where they can connect with you. But also before that, I want to ask you, what are you manifesting right now? What are you creating right now?
Mm. Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because I'm actually creating a program called Manifest Your King.
Cool.
So I'm working very hard on like getting all of that ready. As you know, creating a program is evergreen. So it's just going to be ready when people want to sign up. It takes a lot from sales
Yeah.
page to copy to making it. So I'm deep in that process. Um, yeah, and manifesting just clarity, clarity and ease and consistency in my life. There's just been this past year, it's just been a lot of like, shoo, and then whoo, and then whoo, especially around my work, just really finding that configuration that feels like me has been a
Yeah.
process because I'm such a shapeshifter and what I like and what I don't like and where I'm at now and where I'm not. So I am challenging with myself around creating that consistency, and it's in my early 30s. I'm really cultivating that as much as
That's so,
possible.
yeah.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, yeah.
I adore you. Where can everyone find you, connect with you, learn from you, work with you?
Yes, so I am at maddymmoon.com, Maddy. I've got my next Unbound dates are going to pop up there soon. Creativity
Cool.
and Love is going to be enrolling soon, and I've got a exciting freebie that I'm happy to offer to everybody. It's a list of 50 ways to be creative in love.
Mm.
I worked on this list for years and it was only for my students in creativity and love, but now I've made it into probably the coolest freebie I've ever made. It's literally 50 ideas of how to bring creativity into your love life. It can be overwhelming, so I really recommend that people just pick one thing, give it 3 days to give it a go, and then go into the next thing. It's a repertoire you can have forever.
Wow.
And then I'm on Instagram, Madelyn Moon, Madelyn, and my podcast is the Madelyn Moon Show, and is anywhere you can listen to podcasts.
Amazing. I can't wait to download that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, can I give this list out? Should I be saving this or something? But instead, I'm like, no, everybody's not really doing much good if it's just sitting,
Yeah. No,
there.
that's so generous of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, everyone, go follow Madeline, get into her world. She's amazing. And yeah, tag us, let us know which part of this really deeply resonated with you, and keep being the badass creator of your life. Woo! We did some work today. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love my BAM fam. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who you know would love it too, because we live for the ripple effect over here. And how can you best support the show? Make sure you're subscribed, hit the 5 stars, and leave a review on iTunes, and let me know how the podcast has impacted you. I love being part of your real-time journey, so screenshot the episode and tag me and my guests on Instagram at ManifestWithAsh. Now say it with me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my own energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. We don't just talk about it over here, we be about it. Now go get 'em.